Hi everybody, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out. Let's get started. Our first one comes from Echo of November. Am I the beehole for refusing to honor a promise for paying for my friend's new furniture after she tries to lie about the amount she needs? Little context. I, a 34-year-old female, have been a close friend with Eva, a 36-year-old female, since college days. I and Eva have also been close friends with Julia, a 33-year-old female. However, me and Julia had a big falling out about 5 years ago. We come from a small Eastern European conservative country. I have moved away soon after college. Both girls are still at home and still close friends. During the pandemic, Eva started to date a guy, David. As the relationship progressed, and the more she told me about the guy, the less I liked him. When she told me they got engaged, I tried to talk to her about my concerns. She didn't want to listen. Earlier this year, Eva told me that they would get married this fall, and asked me to be her maid of honor. I was torn between supporting my friend and refusing on the grounds I just don't think he's right for her. In the end, I said yes to being her maid of honor. In our culture, it is custom that the best man and maid of honor give the newlyweds the biggest/most expensive gift, and the rest of the guests use it as a guide on what not to exceed. I own my company and earn a substantial income. So, I've asked her what she needs/wants. She said it would mean a lot if I could help furnish their new apartment. That their mortgage doesn't leave any room for furniture. I said fine. Send me the list/links of what you want, and offered to either buy it for her or give her a check that would cover everything on the list. She sent me the list. It was a lot, but still nothing I couldn't easily afford. About 2 months ago, she called to say she would have two ceremonies, civil ceremony this fall and a church wedding next year. But she wants Julia to be her maid of honor for church ceremonies and for me the civil. I wasn't okay with this and said she would need to choose. Since I committed to buying her furniture, I even offered to keep the promise if she chose Julia. She did. It stung a bit, but I reminded myself I was never really for that marriage. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago when Eve calls asking for the check for the furniture. I asked her to remind me what the amount was. I knew the rough figure, but not down to the final euro. She rattled an amount that was almost 3 times what I had in my head. After going back through the emails, I was right, and she almost tripled the original number. After confronting her, she tried to blame it on inflation, but then she said it shouldn't matter because I can afford it, and it is my wedding gift to her. I proceeded to rescind my offer to pay for furniture, and I said I would prefer to stick to our custom, and make sure my gift doesn't overshadow that of the maid of honor. She called me a beehole for going back on my promise. So, am I the beehole for refusing to honor the original offer? Hi OP, I don't think you're the beehole. Personally, I would have rescinded my offer the second she didn't choose me to be the maid of honor for, the ceremonies. I think you keeping your promise was a good thing, but personally I wouldn't, like I said just now. But there was no way she was going to pick you when she can get both the benefits of having her friend and she still gets all the furniture from you. Of course she's going to choose where she can get both things she wants. And OP, is that really your friend? Because she came back what you said 3 times the money? Who cares that you can afford it? That's not your friend. That was someone trying to fleece you out of your money. Judging by the way your friend acts, I'm pretty sure your hunch about the guy is probably right too. I doubt she chose a winner. And I agree, if she wants to act that way, personally I wouldn't give her, 1 red cent. But I agree with the way you handle it. You shouldn't overshadow the maid of honor. She didn't choose you. She chose Julia, right? Just saying. And our next one comes from Ancient Tangelo 8533. Am I the beehole for laughing at the reason my son was given detention and not agreeing to it? I realize this title sounds entitled, but I ask that you please don't skim read. If the consensus is that I am the beehole, I am truly entitled as the title sounds, I'll call and apologize. I, a 36-year-old female, have a son, an 11-year-old male, in the 6th grade. We'll call Preston. With a teacher, we'll call Susan. 50-year-old female, maybe? Some important background is that Preston is pretty skittish and jumpy. He easily gets startled by noises or voices. He does not expect, especially if they're loud. I've only seen Susan in person like twice, but she has a distinctly loud, almost a thunderous voice. Never heard her yet yell though, but Preston says it always makes him jump a little. And apparently, she's known for being ridiculously loud in general from other kids and parents. Anyway, I got a voicemail on my phone from Preston using a school phone saying he got detention. Because Susan yelled at some kids fooling around during work time. He was startled. And she noticed, so she made him leave the room, work in the hallway, and called me to tell me he has to serve detention next week. I did not believe that was the reason he got detention at all because it sounds really dumb, and I assumed he was just minimalizing his role. He does tend to do that when explaining his side when in trouble, so I thought I'd get Susan's side at recess. While I went to lunch, I call her and I was completely caught off guard when what she said lined up with everything Preston said to a T. I wasn't sure what to say at first, but I ended up laughing on the phone before any words could come out. Susan was irritated and asked what was so funny, and I just responded that I was so sure that Preston was lying to me. Because that was such a ridiculous reason to give anyone detention, and that he's not serving detention just for being startled. She tells me that this is not a suggestion, and that I'm being obtuse. I stood firm and asked her if she'd think it's appropriate if her boss yelled loudly at some fellow teachers. You were startled, and then proceeded to dock her pay or some other form of punishment. Following up with I bet she didn't even do jack squat to the kids she was initially yelling at after noticing Preston. She got quiet for a moment, and I thought maybe I convinced her, but she doubled down and said that failing to serve detention would result in suspension or more, and I told her I'd gladly fight her and the school on this. If it came to that before hanging up, I do not intend to punish Preston just for getting startled. We all do it, and it's nothing worth making any issue of. If I'm being honest, the only reason I chose to post is because I vented to my friend about this later and she actually did not side with me, saying that I was kind of a D to laugh at Susan and that teachers don't get paid enough to deal with this type of thing. I said, so I want to hear what unbiased people think. Alright, I'll tell you what I think. I don't think you're the beehole, and I don't know what's going on with your friend, and I also don't understand what she's talking about teachers getting paid enough for this situation. Nothing happened. Your kid didn't break any rules or do anything bad or disrespectful to her. People seem to think teachers and adults can't be mean or cruel and bully children. She can. She probably saw that your son was an easy target and went after him because some people just get off on being evil, man. And yeah, it's extremely stupid to punish a child for doing nothing wrong. And if you do have to fight the school, they'll back down. Principals and that always, always crumble when a parent won't back down. I've seen it when my mom had to go to bat for me a couple times in school. And our next one comes from subject card 1414. Am I the beehole for refusing to be paired up with the Down syndrome kid? I'm a 16-year-old female, and I'm in a special class in my high school for special needs students. It's not purely for disabled kids, but mostly for people 16 to 20 who have had drug or mental health problems that led them to dropping out of school. There's one kid in class, Daniel, a 17-year-old male, and he has Down syndrome. I have an autoimmune condition that makes me miss a lot of school because I'm in hospital, and I use a cane or a walker. Our class coordinator, Brenda, likes to get us to do different activities during the day. Because our classes are structured differently from the rest of the school, mostly trying to get us to socialize by doing activities like board games or helping out in the school canteen. Daniel and I are the only two physically disabled students in the class, and because of this, we keep getting paired up. I hate it. He's really rude to me and will do stuff like take my cane and give it to his other friends because he thinks it's funny. I've told Brenda that he won't quit harassing me and I don't want to be left alone with him. But she just tells me I'm being prejudiced against his condition and lying about it because he has Downs and he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. I'm now refusing to do anything with him and walked out of the kitchen when we were both rostered. Am I the beehole for this? Everyone keeps saying that people with Downs don't know how to be mean, so I don't know if this is actually discriminatory. Hi OP, you are not the beehole. So what I was originally going to say is for you to go above Brenda and tell the principal or something like that, but reading in the comments it ends up in a loop where he says that Brenda's in charge of the program and you have to take it up with her. That sucks that he's brushing you off like that. I also agree with a lot of people in the comments that you should document this type of things when he's doing this to you. You know, record it with your phone or something like that. And use it as proof / evidence against the school by bringing it to the board or something like that. And maybe that program should be shut down. It sounds like it's putting your health at risk, and the person in charge does not care. And our next one comes from Jolly Reference 7279. Am I the beehole for telling my sister to stop saying I have pretty privilege when it's her fault she looks ugly? I have a sister who is 25. I will call her Tessa. I'm just going to be blunt and say I look better than her. It's due to her not taking care of herself at all. When I was staying active, she was not. I spend my money on skincare and keeping my hair nice. She doesn't. She doesn't dress nicely either. She is always in sweats, even going somewhere nice. Overall, I just look better than her. She has the money to do these things, and she just doesn't. Now, every time I see her, she'll comment something about the way I look. If I tell a story that turns out good for me, she'll tell me it's because I'm pretty, and so on. I assume she is jealous, and I have talked to her about it. Now, I just passed my test to get a license for my job. I was telling the story at dinner, and she told me I passed since I was pretty. It makes no sense. I had enough, and I told her to stop saying I have pretty privilege, and that it's her fault she looks ugly, not mine. She left the table after calling me a see you next Tuesday, and my family is split. Hi, OP, you are not the beehole. The obvious answer here is that, yeah, your sister's jealous, which I don't know why, because like you said, she did it to herself. But yeah, like I said, she chose not to make an effort. That's her fault. I would say maybe try to talk to her and tell her what you're doing to make yourself look good, but from the way it sounds, it doesn't sound like she wants to make an effort. Alright everybody, thank you so much for staying with me to the end of the video. And like I said in the beginning, please like, comment, and subscribe. It will really and truly help the channel out. Velvet out.